Welcome to the Assam history classes. Today we are discussing the modern history of Assam part 2. As we have already covered in the Assam history classes, there are 5 parts. So in this lecture we are covering the modern Assam history, and this is the part 2 of Assam history. Now in this class we will consider two most important topic. Now one question one question is guaranteed from this lecture. One question is guaranteed in this from this lecture in the upcoming APSC prelims exam, and also it is important from mains perspective. So from APSC prelims and APSC mains, this lecture is very important. So students, please pay attention and try to remember, because a definite question in prelims and in mains is definitely going to come from resistance against British rule and the peasant revolt against the British. So we will discuss them in details now. The first topic we are discussing is the resistance against British rule. So students, as we have already covered in our earlier class, that when the British came to Assam, many people thought of it as a thought of the British as saviors, because Assam had experienced many atrocities in the hands of the Burmese invasion. Then there was the Muammarya rebellion, which weakened the socio-economic conditions of the Ahom kingdom, and finally the Ahom kingdom, the ministers also became corrupt, and eventually it led to the downfall of the Ahom kingdom. So once the British replaced the Ahom administration, but the British administration was also of colonial exploitation in nature. So in against or in resistance, for the resistance against the British colonial administration, there were some famous personalities who offered resistance, and among them, these are the prominents which we are going to discuss today: Gumdhar Kuor, Pioli Fukon, Moniram Dewan, Konaklata Borua, and Kuhal Kuor. So students, let us begin the discussion. The first personality who offered resistance to the colonial British administration is the Gumdhar Kuor. So in 1828, Gumdhar Kuor, who was a prince of the Ahom royal family, his colleague Dhanjai Borgohai and their followers rose in revolt against the British occupation of Assam. So a prince of the Ahom royal family, Gumdhar Kuor, along with his colleague Dhanjai Borgohai, in 1828 rose in revolt against the British occupation of Assam. By the end of 1828, the process extension of British dominion into Assam was completed. So as we have discussed earlier, that the one by one, all the neighboring hill kingdoms around that Ahom kingdom was occupied by the British, because after the Treaty of Yandabu, they slowly occupied the Jaintia kingdom, the Kosari kingdom, the Motok kingdom, and so forth. So they completed the domination of the Assam of that time, Northeast India. With the assumption of the political power by the officers of the East India Company, the ruling Ahom monarchy lost not only their political authority but social privileges too. So as the officers of the East India Company assumed the political power, the ruling Ahom monarchy lost not only their political authority but also their social privileges. The federal structure of the society began to crumble as new measures were adopted by the colonial rulers to strip the nobility of their rights and privileges. So the whole socio-economic structure was altered so as to strip or remove the rights and privileges of the nobles. Their enthusiasm for their new friend, who aided them in driving out the Burmese from Assam, soon disappeared. So many personalities in that Ahom administration and in Assam saw the British as a friend who helped them driving out the Burmese, যাক অসমীয়াত মানৰ দিন বুলিও কোৱা হয়। গতিকে however that enthusiasm soon disappeared and supporters of monarchy began to organize themselves to restore the old Ahom monarchy and remove the British. So soon the people of Assam realized that the British administration is of colonial exploitation in nature. So they soon tried to restore the old Ahom monarchy or old Ahom administration and remove the British. Gumdhor was formally enthroned near Jorhat according to Ahom rituals, and arms and ammunition were collected. But before he could take away much, a counter-offensive was made by British led by Lieutenant Rutherford. So Gomdhor, before the Ahom prince Gomdhor could make any effort, a counter-offensive was made by the British led by Lieutenant Rutherford. The rebels lost and the Gomdhor fled to the Naga Hills. But soon he and his associates were arrested by the British. So Gomdhor Corps fled to the Naga Hills, and soon he and his associates were arrested by the British. Gomdhor was found guilty of illegally assuming the insignia of royalty, and he was subsequently sentenced to death. This sentence was subsequently commuted to 7 years of imprisonment in banishment and was deported to an unknown location. So his sentence was subsequently reduced to 7 years of imprisonment in banishment, and further he was deported to an unknown location. Next, coming to the important personality was the Pioli Phukan. Now Pioli Phukan is an important personality in the story of the Indus freedom struggle. So we have to know about Pioli Phukan. He was the son of the Bodon Phukan, who brought the Burmese into Assam to dethrone the Ahom king in the 18th century. So we have to know that Pioli Phukan was the son of Bodon Phukan. So actually Pioli Phukan is also known as Pioli Phukan. So he was the son of Bodon Phukan. And it was this move by Borphukon that paved the way to British rule in Assam. And the British landed in Assam to save the people from the inhuman torture of the Myanmar army, the Burmese army, and in no time took over the reins of administration themselves. So the British not only removed the Burmese army but also took control over the administration. The Indian aristocracy of the time bowed down before the British rulers. Most followed suit, but not Phukan. So the dynamic leader Pioli Phukan was physically handicapped, and he was the first to organize a people's uprising against the British after the Treaty of Yandabu. So with indomitable courage, conviction and support of the masses, Phukan hatched a daredevil plan to blow up a firearms godown of the British rulers. However, there was a tip-off, and someone informed the British of the activities, and then Pioli Phukan was arrested. And after a trial, Pioli Phukan was hanged on July 26, 1830. July 26, 1830. Pioli Phukan was hanged by the British for his heroic patriotism. So on 1955, Pioli Phukan movie, and this also we have to know in this context that Pioli Phukan movie was released by Phoni Kharma. So an eminent personality in Assam post-independence, Notokhurjo Phoni Kharma. So Phoni Kharma directed the movie Pioli Phukan on 1955, and Phoni Kharma's Pioli Phukan received the certificate of merit and became the first Assamese movie to bag a national award. So these points are important. In APSC prelims, these points may be asked by APSC. Now coming to the next important personality, Moniram Dewan. Moniram Datta Burua. Original name is Moniram Datta Burua. These points should be noted because an MCQ based question may be asked by APSC. Students, please make a note of it. So Moniram Datta Burua, popularly known as Moniram Dewan, was an Assamese nobleman in British India. He was one of the first people to establish tea gardens in Assam. So both in APSC prelims and APSC mains, a question on Moniram Dewan will definitely come. Students, please make a note of it. So initially he was an ally of the British East India Company in his early years. However, he was hanged by the British for conspiring against them during the 1857 uprising or revolt of 1857. He was popular among the people of Upper Assam as Kolita Raja. So these points may be asked in exam. Students, please make a note of it. Now, some of the activities under his tenure, under the tenure of Moniram Dewan, are tea cultivation. So it was Moniram who informed the British about the Assam tea grown by the Singpho community, which was earlier unknown to the rest of the world. So the Singpho communities had been brewing the traditional Assam tea leaves, and it was Moniram Dewan who informed the British of the same. So in the early 1820s, he directed the cultivators, Major Robert Bruce and his brother Charles Alexander Bruce, to the local Singpho chief Besagom. Now, Charles Bruce collected the tea plants from the Singphos and took them to the company administration. In 1833, after the monopoly on the Chinese trade ended, the East India Company decided to establish major tea plantations in India. Lord William Bentinck established the tea committee on 1st February 1834 towards achieving this goal. The committee sent out circulars asking about the suitable places for tea cultivation, and it was suggested that Assam was suggested for tea cultivation. When the tea committee visited Assam to study the feasibility of tea cultivation, Moniram Dewan met Dr. Wallis as a representative of Purandar Singha and highlighted the region's prospects for tea cultivation. So in 1839, Moniram Dewan became the Dewan of the Assam Tea Company at Nazira. So by this time, Moniram had acquired tea cultivation expertise. He established his own Sinamara tea garden at Sinamara in Jorhat, thus becoming the first Indian tea planter to grow tea commercially in Assam. So this point is very important for our prelims and mains perspective. Moniram Dewan became the first Indian tea planter to grow tea commercially in Assam. Apart from tea, Moniram was also involved in iron smelting, gold procuring, salt production. He was also involved in the manufacturing of goods like matchlocks, hose and cutlery. His other businesses included handloom, boat making, brick making, bell metal, dyeing, ivory work, ceramic, coal supply, elephant trade, construction of buildings for military headquarters, and agricultural products. Now, then in the second half or in the latter half of his life, he was involved in the anti-British plot. So, by the 1850s, Moniram Dewan had become hostile to the British. He had faced numerous administrative obstacles in establishing private tea plantations due to opposition from competing European tea planters. So, Moniram Dewan became hostile to the British because he faced numerous administrative obstacles in establishing private tea plantations due to opposition from the competing European tea planters. In 1851, Captain Charles Holroyd, the chief officer of Sibsagar, seized all the facilities provided to him due to a tea garden dispute. So Maniram Devan by then presented a petition to the judge of the Sadar Court, Calcutta, and he wrote the people of Assam had been reduced to the most abject and hopeless state of misery from the loss of their fame, honor, rank, caste, and employment. He also pointed out the British policies were aimed at recovering the expenses incurred in conquering Assam province from the Burmese, resulting in the exploitation of the local economy. So he informed of the exploitation of the local economy. He protested against the waste of money on the court cases and the unjust taxation system, the unfair pension system, and the introduction of opium cultivation. So there were many objections of the British administration made by Maniram Devan. To gather support for the reintroduction of the Ahom rule, Maniram arrived in Calcutta, the then capital of British India, in April 1857, and he, with several influential people, on behalf of the Ahom royal Condorcet Singha, he petitioned the British administrators for restoration of the Ahom rule on 6 May 1857. When the Indian sepoys started an uprising against the British on 10 May, Maniram saw it as an opportunity to restore the Ahom rule. So when the Indian sepoys started the uprising of the 1857, Maniram saw it as an opportunity to restore the Ahom rule. So with help from messengers disguised as fakirs, he sent coded letters to Pioli Barua, who had been acting as the chief advisor of Condorcet in his absence. And in these letters, he argued he urged the Condorcet Singha to launch a rebellion against the British with help from sepoys at Dibrugarh and Golaghat. Then Condorcet and his loyal men hatched an anti-British plot and gathered arms. The plot was supported by several influential local leaders, including Urbidhar Barua, Mayaram Barua, and so on and so forth. The conspirators were joined by Subedars Sheikh Bhikun and Nur Muhammad after Condorcet promised to double the salary of the sepoys if they succeeded in defeating the British. So on 29 August 1857, the rebels met at Sheikh Bhikun's residence at Nagora. They planned a march to Jorhat, where Condorcet would be installed as king on the day of Durga Puja. However, the plot was uncovered before it could be executed. So Condorcet, Maniram, and other leaders were arrested. Maniram was arrested in Calcutta and then brought to Jorhat. His letters to Condorcet had been intercepted by the British. So finally, Maniram Devan and Pioli Barua were publicly hanged on 26 February 1858 at the Jorhat jail. Maniram's death was widely mourned in Assam, and several tea garden workers struck work to express their support to the rebellion. Next comes the important personality, Konaklata Barua. So she, also called as Birbala or Shahid, was an Indian independence activist and AISF leader, All India Students Federation leader, who was shot dead by the British police while leading a procession bearing the national flag during the Quit India movement of 1942. Independence activism. So during the Quit India movement, Barua joined the Mittu Bahini, a death squad comprising groups of youth from Gauhpur subdivision, Assam. So this point is important, that Konaklata Barua joined the Mittu Bahini. On 20 September 1942, the Bahini decided it would hoist the national flag at the local police station. A procession of unarmed villagers were led by Barua to do so. However, Barua was shot and the flag she was carrying with her was taken up by Mukundo Kakoti, who was shot too. So along with Konakolata Borua, we should also remember Mukundo Kakoti, who was also shot on the same day. Both Borua and Kakoti were killed in a police action, and Konakolata Borua was only 17 years of age at the time of her martyrdom. Coming to next personality, important personality, Kushal Kuor. So Kushal Kuor was a freedom fighter from Assam, and he was the only martyr in India who was hanged during the last phase of the Quit India movement of 1942. So the Quit India movement, on 8 August 1942, the Congress Working Committee in its meeting at Bombay passed the Quit India resolution. This resolution demanded complete withdrawal of the British from the India's soil, and Mahatma Gandhi gave the call of do or die to the people of India. The British reacted by arresting Gandhi and all the leaders, Congress leaders, and putting them in jails. Across India, this sparked a widespread mass movement against the British, cutting across caste, creed, and religion. People came out to the streets shouting the slogans of Vande Mataram. In spite of Gandhiji's appeal of peaceful non-cooperation dharna, in many regions the Quit India movement became violent, with people burning offices and damaging government properties, disrupting road, rail, and telecommunication networks. So, in this movement, many personalities in Assam also took place, and the movement became violent. One of the incidents of violence was that on 10 October 1942, some people removed few sleepers of the railway line near Horupathar in Golaghat district. A military train passing by got derailed, and many British and American soldiers lost their lives. The British army immediately cordoned the area and started an operation to catch the culprits. Innocent people of the area were rounded up, beaten, and harassed. The British police participated in this reign of terror, in its people were beaten up and arrested. So Kushal Kuor was accused as the chief conspirator of the train sabotage. The British police arrested him. An ardent follower of Gandhiji, his principle of non-violence, Kushal Kuor was ignorant about the sabotage plan and action. So Kushal Kuor was ignorant about the plan. He was innocent, but the police charged him with as the mastermind of the train sabotage. He was brought from Golaghat and was lodged in the Jorhat jail on 5 November 1942. Kushal Kuor was sentenced to death by hanging. He accepted the verdict with dignity. At dawn on 15 June 1943 at 4:30 a.m., Kushal Kuor was hanged in Jorhat jail. So these are very important personalities. Students, please make a note of it and try to remember, because a prelims based question will come definitely in the upcoming APSC exam. Now coming to the important revolts of British administration. So in this part of our discussion, revolt against British, we will discuss the Pulaged Hawa, the Romia revolt, and the Pothoragat revolt. One question is compulsory on this in the upcoming APSC exam. Students, you should remember these points very carefully. One question is guaranteed in the APSC exam from this topic. The peasant revolt against British. So introduction. Now first we will study why these revolts happen. So after the revolt of 1857, the British government of India tried all possible ways to increase its revenue income. In Assam, agriculture being the main source of revenue, the burden of tax obviously fell on the peasants. And official records show that during the post 1857 period, the British government increased the revenue demand by 3 to 4 times the original amount. So as to compensate for the losses during the revolts, the British tried to increase the tax revenue. The harmful effects of the excessive demand increased further due to the rigid manner of tax collection. Moreover, the British government, in order to increase its income, imposed income tax of the people of Assam in 1861. So, introduction of various duties like stamp duty, excise duty, tax for cutting timber, etc., practically impoverished the peasantry beyond description. So, under this background, all these caused various resentment among the among the general people, particularly the peasants of Assam, which led them to rise against the British government. So, this we will discuss now. The first we are discussing is the Phulaguri Dhawa or Phulaguri uprising. The Phulaguri uprising, which is also known as Phulaguri Dhawa in Assamese, was the first agrarian revolt in Assam after 1857. Phulaguri is a place in present-day Nagaon district. So the background is that high price of opium fixed by the British government caused much resentment amongst the people of Phulaguri. The ban imposed by the British government on private cultivation of opium also caused much dissatisfaction among the people. So a rumor spread that the British government would soon impose duties on all their sources of income, such as cultivation of betel leaf, that is pan, and cultivation of fruits in the garden. So due to these, an uprising broke out, which initially took the form of a protest through rice mills. So on 17 October 1861, when the people from distant villages assembled in a mill, the British police forcibly tried to disperse the villagemen. The incident enraged the native people so much that they jumped upon the police party who tried to disperse them. And in this encounter, Mr. Singer, the Assistant Commissioner of Police of Nagaon district, was beaten to death. However, an additional police force captured the rebels and their leaders were severely punished either with a death sentence or life imprisonment. So, though the Phulaguri uprising was a failure, its significance cannot be underrated. It was the first popular rebellion of the peasantry of Assam against the British colonial rule. This is evident from the fact that within the next few years, the peasants of the districts of Dorong and Kamrup broke out in rebellion against the exploitation of the British. So coming to our next topic, Rongia and Lesima revolt. The people of Rongia in the district of Kamrup, following the footsteps of Phulaguri peasants, very soon launched their protest, organizing the rice mills. The cause of their protest was 100% increase in the land revenue. So the Rongia revolt began on 24 December 1893 when the people of Rongia ransacked the Rongia market. Also, people staged a demonstration on 10th January 1894 in which they raised the slogan of not paying the increased volume. So these dates are important. In the upcoming prelims, a question is definitely going to come. On the same day, Maccabee, the Deputy Commissioner of Kamrup, imposed a ban on holding any mill. All the important leaders of the revolt were soon arrested by the police, and the revolt lost its edge. Now coming the Lasima revolt. The Lasima revolt was also held due to the same reasons as of Rongia. The only difference was that the rebels of Lasima took recourse to violence. They assaulted the revenue collectors who were the agents of the British government. The incident took place in Kolpo near Lasima in the district of Kamrup on 21st January 1894. So these dates are important. The revenue collectors were so severely beaten by the villagers that one of them died. Now coming to the next important topic, the Pathargarh uprising. This is the most important among the uprisings. Like Phulaguri Dhawa, the rebellion of Pathargarh is also commonly known among the Assamese as Patharghator Ron or the Battle of Pathargarh. Pathargarh is a place in the Dorong district where a revolt broke out in 1894. The grievances of the people were against the enhancement of the rates of revenue. Rice mills were held in which not only a protest was lodged against the increased rates of land revenue, but also a warning was also issued to the villagers to the effect that no one should pay the increased revenue to the government. So on 28 January 1894, these dates are important. When a police party went to the village to attach the property of a peasant cultivator who was a defaulter, they were surrounded by a mob. Soon after, the rebels of Patrughat marched towards the police camp, leading to the police to open fire. So on police firing, many of the villagers died and were injured. It led to the complete suppression of the rebels by Patrughat, or rebels of the Patrughat by British. So under the British rule, the condition of general masses became so impoverished that they were compelled to raise their voice against the British. After going through this unit, you should have learned how peasants and tribal population of different areas of Indian subcontinent revolted against the British rule and why they revolted. So in Assam also, the peasants and the tribal communities expressed their resentments by a series of violent protests by attacking the British administration. So with these students, we come to an end to today's class. I hope this class was very helpful on modern Assam history. One or two questions are definitely going to come from this lecture itself. Students, please make a note of the important points wherever I have made them. So thank you for watching the video. Thank you so much.